Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about podcasting and consistency, and this is why we have now yearly plans at OnPod because consistency is key. So our goal is to help you, to help our clients be consistent and post the right way. Here's the thing about podcasting. Podcasting is like a small business. You have to advertise it, you have to showcase it, you have to talk about it. And here's some tricks and tips. So, one thing you want to do is obviously post weekly on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you have an RSS feed. If you don't know what that is, we can break it down for you later on. That's super important. Make sure that RSS feed is on your website if you have a website. If you don't, would not be a bad idea to have a website for your podcast or for your business, and then you can put that on your blog, and I'll explain. So that's one thing you need to do. Keep posting on a weekly basis. Then what you want to do is create potentially articles, right? The idea of creating an article like I'm doing right now is to create SEO, right? So basically keywords on your website or on a site that will lead to your podcast, that your podcast will be watched, right? And then Google will find those and link all those together. You can also link your YouTube channel to your Google My Business, and then obviously putting the article with the YouTube link on your site and the RSS feed links everything together back to YouTube and to Google. So you have kind of this circle going on. Now, if you build an article for your website, might as well put it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is so powerful for connecting with people, business professionals. This is the place to be, right? So, super important. LinkedIn articles or newsletter. Newsletter is even better. But basically, it's just a matter of copying your article into an article in LinkedIn and posting that once a week based on your podcast. And there's tricks, there's automation. I'm using an automation that I've built right now. And basically, I put the video into my automation, I put some backlinks, press a button, it goes on my website. Then I copy that to LinkedIn, and then I schedule it for Monday, right? So every Monday, we'll have an article, and so on. Then I use these articles with these videos to send to my potential clients or my old clients, right? Send them an email saying, we have this offer, we have this thing, it's great. And then later on, a week later, 2 weeks later, I'm going to send you an article to just kind of showcase, what that can be. So now what we do is really support our clients through yearly packages based per month. But the idea is to have a monthly call and help them figure everything out, right? How to post. Are we doing this right? Are we not doing this right? Is there a better way? How do I advertise my podcast? How do I get more leads out of my podcast or more views? How do I turn my podcast into potentially a podcast that is sponsored by someone and it's paid by someone, right? Because let's say we take a city, right? The city of Montreal or Ottawa or Toronto, and the city wants to do their own podcast. But maybe they don't want to deal with, all the stuff that comes with doing podcasts. So maybe they want to sponsor a podcast. That's going to be great. And, you get on top because it's your podcast sponsored by the city of Ottawa or Montreal or whatever. And then sometimes if your niche is the right niche, then the sponsorship is easy because they want to connect with your guest. It's not always about the views. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going to have these 52 guests next year on my podcast. This is the list that we're attacking. Maybe you do a list of 60. And then the city or the company sees that and say, okay, we want to connect with these people too on a personal level. So can you talk about us? And that's the way they do. Now, if you've watched the Diary of a CEO podcast, a key thing to your podcast. One, people need to learn something right away. And I don't mean learn something about the person. I mean learn something that's useful for them, right? So that's really, really important. And then what Stephen Bartlett does really well, he will change his tone at the start of the podcast and completely go into a mode where he's asking people to subscribe, but in a way that the emotion is there, the honesty is there, and that's really important. It's not just like and subscribe; it's to go deeper into the emotion of how you say it. Right? In one of his podcasts, he turns around in his chair, and the camera's behind him, and we it's like we're behind the scene. Okay, we come in behind the scene, and he takes his voice down, and he takes his tone down, and he's like, guys, it would really help if you guys can support us through this podcast. It would mean a lot. It doesn't cost anything. You just go, you click subscribe, and just follow us. And if you like it, if you want to comment, go ahead. Creates a conversation, builds a community, and we can bring better guests. So this is the thing, right? The voice tone that changes, really, really important. Not a lot of people do that. And then when he does ads in the middle of his podcast, you can hear that he's reading, but he changes his tone, right? He's in the podcast, he's serious, and then he goes into his ad read. And the tone is honest, respectful, and then you're like, oh, I want to check out this link. So he sends you to his website, to our website. It's like, this is what we're doing. And it's really thought through. And that's how you can get leads through, you don't just want to put a high pressure commercial in your podcast. You want to put a low pressure voice that says an honest message. So you want to switch that. So these are all ideas. Always happy to talk about this. If you guys want to talk, connect with my Calendly link, and then we'll have a talk about podcasts and everything that can come from podcasting and from creating content nonstop. Thanks.